Hi, this is Brad with Weight Loss Walkthrough, where I'm sharing my weight loss journey to help you with yours. What I wanted to talk about this week was just how I got myself from not even or barely doing 5,000 steps per week all the way up to where I am now, where I'm doing 16,000 steps per week. When I started, I was almost 400 pounds, and being up on my feet for 10 minutes, regardless of whether I was doing anything, it just started to make my lower back hurt, and I just could not do much. I couldn't go for long walks. I couldn't do a whole lot around the house. I just had to, after 10 minutes or so, sit down to give my back a rest, just because there was just so much pressure on my lower back just because of how much weight I was carrying. So the way I got around it was, or the way I started getting things turned around, I should say, was just by setting a starting goal, which was 5,000 steps per day. And I did that every day for a week. After a week, I set a goal the next week for 6,000. Not a huge increase, just 1,000 steps a day. But then after that week, I set the goal for 7,000. Then after that, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and all the way up to 15, to where over the course of 2.5 months, I went from doing 5,000 steps a day to doing 15,000 steps per day. And now I've evened up that a little bit more to 16,000 steps per day. So it wasn't something where I just went gung-ho right from the beginning and started with this huge number of steps. I recognized where I was, that it just wasn't possible to go from 0 to 100 right away. I had to get myself there in steps. So I set a reasonable goal. Then I just kept adding to that week after week after week after week after week until I got from the 5,000 all the way up to the 15,000 steps per day mark. Then I added an extra 1,000 in sometime later just to try to give myself a little extra burn. But the main progression I did was from 5,000 all the way to 15,000 in the span of about 10 weeks, just by starting at 5,000 per day for a week, and then 1,000 extra per day the next week, 1,000 extra per day the next week, 1,000 extra per day, and so on, so on, so on, so on, till I finally got there. So if you're watching this and just getting started, don't think that you have to try to eat the whole elephant right from the beginning. That's not the best way to approach it. Just do what you can. Find out what you can do with your physical ability at that point, and then set goals to keep upping the activity as you progress. Don't try to kill yourself right from the get-go, because if you do that, you're probably not going to stick with it. You want to find something that you can do that is attainable and that you will stick with. And then once you attain that goal or attain that level, then work up from that level. Just stick with it and keep building until you get yourself up to a much higher activity level than where you started. It's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. Recognize if you're like I was and you're not able to do a whole lot at the beginning, recognize that and just realize, okay, I can't do a whole lot now, but it's not about what I can do now. It's about getting myself better and taking those steps week by week by week to ultimately get yourself in a much better position than where you are when you started.